and gentlemen, with that, we would like to proceed towards the last panel discussion of the day. All right, so the topic of panel discussion is New Age Revolution, Frameworks and Standards for Cybersecurity in India. And the panelists are, let's just begin by inviting the group CISO Paytm, Mr. Parvin Kumar. All right, बढ़ते हैं आगे. Now I would like to do the honor to invite Mr. Ravinder Arora, Global CISO and Data Protection Officer from Infogain. Well, now I would like to request Mr. Amit Sharma, CISO InfoEdge. He's on his way. He'll be joining us in next few minutes. और इसी के साथ मैं रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगी मिस नम्रता महिंद्रो, चीफ डिजिटल ऑफिसर एट आदित्य बिरला केमिकल्स, फिलामेंट्स एंड इंसुलेटर्स एंड CIO, Viscose Filament Yarn. Please put your hands together for the lady. Come on. Alright, और इसी के साथ साथ अब मैं बुलाना चाहूँगी मिस्टर बैद्यनाथ कुमार, CISO and Data Protection Officer from JK Lakshmi Cement. Come on, put your hands together for them. अब मैं रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूँगी मिस्टर अमित शर्मा, CISO InfoEdge, to please step up here on the stage. And last but not the least, let's just do the honor by inviting the moderator Amit Dubey, who is the author, national security expert, who have graced us with his presence. With that, would like to request you, sir, to please start the panel discussion.
Hello, good evening everyone. I'm Amit Dubey and I'm a cyber crime investigator. So whatever I have learned through criminals. And I truly believe that criminals are innovators. Right? Because just few months back, Twitter was acquired by Elon Musk. And then it got hacked in 2 weeks. FBI started the investigation, and they arrested 3 kids. 17 years old Nima Fazeli from Orlando, 19 years old Graham Ivan Clark from Florida, and a 21 years old guy. Actually, this hack happened because of the 17 years old guy. And Twitter's security budget is huge, more than country's security budget, but it was compromised. The learning is, and if you search on Google, top 10 hackers of the world, you will realize that most of them have done their best work when they were teenagers, 16, 17, 18 years of age. So what happened after that? Because education corrupts us. And I truly believe that they limit our creativities and thought process. But now, every day, we are coming up, because if you notice in last 3 years, we have been, Government of India was coming up with new IT regulations, guidelines, frameworks. Almost every year they have come up with some new guidelines. Why it is so? Because the technology is changing very fast. And we have to cope up with the kind of challenges that we have. I'll just request you to do an exercise for me. आप सबके हाथ में फ़ोन है? Open कीजिए. अब मैं आपको थोड़ा डराता हूँ. अपना browser launch कीजिए. Just launch your browser and you have to open a website, privacy.net/analyzer. PRIVACY, privacy.net/ANALYZER. SER मत कीजिएगा, ZER. Just open that. जैसे इस वेबसाइट को खोलेंगे आप, आपके नीचे की स्टार्ट टेस्ट बटन दिखाई देगा. You could see a start test button. Just click that button and you will see some of your hidden details on that page. जो आपसे बिना पूछे उसने चुरा ली. There is no permission required, and any link can do that. Any link, whatever news portals, YouTube links, Facebook you are opening every day, they have this capability to capture all those details. It has your location, it has your IP address, it has your browser version, it has your SIM card type, whether it is Vodafone, Reliance or whoever. It has your device type, whether it is iPhone or Android phone. It has the information of your battery status. True? Could you see? Anybody? Can you please raise your hand? Yes or no? Very good. Thank you. So, that makes us vulnerable. I was doing a campaign on Z Business और उस पर हमने कुछ ऐसे फ़ोन इनवाइट किए, iPhone, Android phone, and and you were trying to do some e-commerce activities, booking a cab or something. And you will be surprised that an iPhone was always giving us more fare than an Android device. And so if you do with 2 Android devices, one with 20% battery status, another with 80% battery status, the 20% battery status will always give you more cost for the same product or same booking. And it happens because they are reading this information live from your device and can take a call accordingly. That's why we need regulations. Because most of these things can be misused unethically by many operators. So here we have a very powerful panel with me. We have Parvin from Paytm, we have Baidyanath from Lakshmi Cement, we have Ravinder from Infogain, Amit Sharma from InfoEdge, and Namrita from Aditya Birla Chemicals. And we'll be discussing these challenges with them today. So I would like to start with Namrita. See, and I'd like to start with AI. See, I'm not going to ask a very generic question. Some question that is very, very relevant to each one of them. We all are using ChatGPT and Bard, and we see the positive and negative outcomes of it. But there's no regulation. People can misuse. People can go to that extent where they can harm others using AI. So do you think we need AI regulation or new framework? And is it the need of the hour today? Or we should wait for a few more such disruptions and then we can come up with that? What is your thought process on that?
If I may. Yeah, thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. You can hear me? It's more like evening, yeah. Yeah, so thanks, Amit, for that question. And I think it's an interesting question because I think when we talk about AI, as a technology over the last decade or so, it has become mainstream. It's been around since the 1930s, 1940s. But from an enterprise lens, we started, at least in India, we started using it over the last decade. It was being used, and you still had it predominantly, being used for specific use cases. You needed a certain level of technical knowledge. You needed to be an expert or so-called expert, to be able to deal with AI. What has happened in the last 7 months is that generative AI or large language models have completely changed that landscape. Today, as we use our WhatsApp, and we all are equally comfortable. Is there somebody who doesn't use WhatsApp here? Or Telegram or Signal? Anyone? Okay. So since nobody's raising their hands, I'm assuming everybody uses one of these communication. Exactly. So given that, I think ChatGPT, to just use as a moniker for the entire LLM space, the entire generative AI space, has become second nature to us. We use it in our personal lives, and where permissioned and sometimes not permissioned, we also use it in our professional lives. So what happens when you start using ChatGPT? There's always this saying that half knowledge is a very dangerous place to be in, and that's what ChatGPT has done for all of us. We understand the ease, the convenience, and the humanity it has brought into technology. What we don't see are the hidden risks that it carries with itself. The risks are, first, from a model point of view. You don't know. It's collecting data from all kind of sources. So we talk about ChatGPT hallucinating. Everybody's heard that, right? So it's making up stuff. So we don't know what is the source of that information. Is it true, not true, or is it just being dreamt of? The second challenge is there is a huge issue in terms of privacy. Now, the culture of privacy in India is very different from, let us say, a lot of other Western markets. Over here, our boundaries of personal space, of personal privacy are very different from what it is in other countries. But when you're working in an enterprise, and I'm taking that lens again, and you're working across geographies, again, that becomes important to see what are you doing with your own privacy and with the data that you have either from your suppliers or your customers. The third challenge that you would typically see is from a point of view of IP. I work in the chemical industry. We have a lot of IP, a lot of R&D work which happens. You're suddenly putting that IP at a whole lot of risk. So when coming back, that was a very long-winded answer, but coming back to your question, Amit, I think when you start thinking about it from a consumer or an enterprise lens, I think the need is now. Regulation for me is an enabler because it gives you the guardrails to then innovate better, to innovate faster. Without that, you may lose control of the steering wheel.
So you endorse AI regulations?
I do.
And at the time when we don't have Data Privacy Act, so
So
are we asking too
that's a
much from
double
the
whammy.
are we asking too much from the government? But I think it's required because people are researching around and they'll be coming up with some dangerous AI applications also very soon, and we need to stop such kind of things. Now I'll focus on financial use of financial challenges of cybersecurity. Probably we have a representative from Paytm, Parvin. And we all are facing cybercrime all around, and people are duped and losing money. And normally we blame all these UPI wallets for that, but actually they are secure. Somebody is actually doing some mistake, and because of that they are losing money. But do we need any special framework or probably guidelines for financial transactions to stop such menace?
Thank you. On the serious note, right, if anyone suggests to browse or download any app, please be careful. Either be it Amit or anyone. So just don't try to browse or install anything because one of my friend got installed any disk, right? So be careful. Coming to your answer, and this really smart questions, right? So yes, let us try to understand that who are the main actors in this digital world, right? There are three major actors. First, you and me kind of thing, end user, who are having the mobile, and we are using the digital app day and night. The second actor is the industry enterprises, like he's coming from chemical industry, I'm coming from financial industry, and many people are coming from different verticals. And the third actor is the government, right? Last one decade, right, we have been seeing that very massive growth in the government expenditure on the digitization progress, right? We have heard since morning many IS officer, government officers have been telling that so many apps they have exposed to, for the services of end users. So we have also regulation for these three actors, right? Every industry has the regulator, or rather most of the industry has the regulator. We come under RBI, under financial or especially banking sector. And there are other regulators like SEBI who deals with the money. There is IRDA for the insurance vertical. We have the payment. Payment also comes under RBI. So these regulators for telecom, we have DOT or TRAI. And for different verticals, we have the regulators, right? These regulators are able to understand the concern of end user, concern of financial services, the issue in financial services, and they release the framework, at times regulation, at times mandate, that yes, these are the suggested control any enterprise or that industry or companies coming under that verticals are supposed to implement. This is fantastic, and Amit, I'm happy to share that our regulators are nothing behind of the international regulator. So especially in the financial regulator are really coming up very frequently. They are modifying.
So, but why this regulations are not helping us to stop crimes? Why it is
so? So this is again cat and mouse game, Amit, right? So yes, it gives you the hygiene at least definitely, but bad actors or any this is the if you have the dirty mind, you can go one step ahead, right? If you are having the good mind or you are very ethical, then you will think a lot that whether I should take this step or not. But bad actor doesn't think. They don't have any perimeter. So they always take one step ahead from the good actors or ethical hacker or the CISO like us. So definitely this is cat and mouse game, as I said. And it's not that we are not able to stop the crime, but they are very innovative, right? So the moment we catch that this is a loophole in our product or system or infrastructure, and they explore something else, right? So no one can be 100% secure. Since their job is to explore, their job is to find the vulnerabilities, their weaknesses in the system, and they will keep going. And this is how it works, this cyber criminal world works, right? So it's not that we are not able to catch them. We do catch them. There have been number of cyber cases against those bad actors. And I think things will further improve from here. This is what I would say.
Thank you, Parvin. Actually,
Yeah.
I'll request each one of you to please be concise because we have few minutes left, and I'll move to Ravinder. Yeah, of course, of course.
So I'll just say, guys, I know we all have heard it, but actually we as human beings are the weakest link. I think for any of these, frauds that we see, the point is what are we doing, and are we doing enough to increase the awareness and the education? Because that is the starting point and the ending point. It's the weakest link, which is the cause.
Thank you, Namrita. But it's so easy to blame people because I'm not absolutely agree with her because it's very painful when somebody lose money and we say it is your mistake. Why I'm saying so? I'll give my logic. Why I'm saying so? First of all, I think there are lots of financial framework. But to commit any kind of cybercrime, you need two things: SIM card and bank account. Without these two things, you cannot do any cybercrime. Correct? Now, both of these things you cannot achieve without KYC. You need proper KYC. So we have a regulations framework. But now, even with those frameworks, 100,000 SIM cards, pre-activated SIM cards, those are confiscated recently on railway station, Delhi railway station. And it happens every week we confiscate. Similarly, anonymous bank accounts, we confiscate, which shows there is something missing out. Just by putting this blame to end users that you did mistake, but before that we did some mistake at the framework level as well. We provided pre-activated SIM card to a criminal and a bank account to a criminal. I think I'm talking from that regard, and I'll request Ravinder to focus on it because this is really very important. How can we improve our cybersecurity framework or guidelines probably to avoid this? Or do you suggest some new technologies to be adopted?
I think, interesting conversation. And we all have views. Some may agree, some may not agree. But I think that's the whole purpose of this discussion. I think important thing, I come from a, typical US-based corporate companies. 20 years I work with these companies, which are very aggressive when it comes to, implement something. When it comes to force some, policies. We have offices, in my current office, we have offices in Europe, in Poland and everywhere. When GDPR came in 2018, I remember, I think we were some early companies in India who started, doing the gap assessment, what will be the, compliance issue, where we stand in terms of PII, and definitely penalty plays a big role. You remember it was, $20 million or 4% of total revenue of the organization, which is huge. We really don't want to take the risk. Now, if we will speak, because the agenda and the overall, summit is Digital Bharat Summit. And we are now talking about how India can be, we can force policy, we can, cyber security strategy or policies can be enforced. I think the only way, which I think definitely we can do awareness, it's more like, there will be a fine, don't jump the red light. But is it enough? People still jump that, right? And there are some, in and out to how you will solve that problem. The only thing which I understand, I think there should be some strict penalties, there should be some strict regulations when it comes to privacy and security. That's the only savior I can see. And I'm not aware, but I was going through the PDP draft, which we are all expecting that will be passed in this monsoon bill, which has some still some penalties. It may be financially, it may be some other, but I think that's the only savior I can see.
So, see, there are two aspects of it.
Yeah.
Penalty to whom? Penalty to the companies, those are owning the data, they are processing this data, so data fiduciaries and processors, and then we can penalize them.
Yes.
We cannot penalize the attackers because they will keep on doing it.
Definitely not. Now, who is the custodian of data?
Correct.
Very important. The custodian has to ensure multiple things. I don't want to get into the detail. I'm the DPO as well. First thing is consent. When you're taking, data, PI you're collecting, then definitely the consent. Then the very important thing, how you will ensure that there are enough controls, around the parameter of that data that it will not be leaked out.
Of course.
Okay.
So
I mean,
no. My point is little beyond that. That is anyway is mentioned in GDPR. We are adopting it as it is from it.
Yeah.
We may give more penalty. We may put it less, whatever. But what about the end users? If they are duped and they are cheated and they are losing money, and they will be penalized, it's like that because I'm expecting some framework where they should get some justice. And we cannot just blame them that you are ignorant, your awareness is low, so that it is happening. Because every day the modus operandi will keep on changing, attack vectors will keep on changing. We cannot ensure everybody to be aware for every latest modus operandi. It can never happen.
Now you tell.
That's my point. That how we can protect that.
I understand, but believe me, I don't see any easy solution for this. If I am owning this smartphone, this is my choice. I always say, who can tell me which is the safest computer in this world? Who can tell me? Which is the safest computer in this world? Some people will say Apple is very secure. No, safest computer is one which is actually, standing on an island, having no internet, no LAN, no WAN connection. But I am sure we don't want to get into a situation. This smartphone, using WhatsApp, installing all apps, this is our choice. And I think every privilege comes with the responsibility. I don't think that, being an end user, I can say, I will do whatever I want, but if any cyber crime will happen, I will go to the government, I will blame the government. Some accountability will have to take. We all say the responsible citizen, right? We all say. Then what is the meaning of responsible citizen?
So
Cybersecurity is another
power comes with responsibility.
Every power comes with the responsibility.
Ravinder ji endorsing the same statement. I'll move to Baidyanath. Baidyanath is from JK Lakshmi Cement. And Baidyanath, because we are also facing lots of IoT proliferation. So many devices in our house. I think on an average, every household will have more than 15, 16 devices. Many mobile phones, laptops, iPads, Alexa, wearable watches, smart TVs. So I think more than 15, 16 on an average. And they all are entry points to criminals to reach to your house, could be vulnerable. Do we need a framework for IoT devices as well in Indian context? And how should we take it now? Yeah, please.
Yeah, so this is very important topic. And especially if you see from manufacturing industry standpoint also, a lot of IoT devices are already there in the plants. Manufacturing plants, if you see, they work on IT-OT convergence and IoT platforms as well. So for monitoring the controls, and even the SCADA systems also, you have a lot of IoT equipments. And particularly you pointed out related to our personal lives also and the way IoT devices we deal with, right? So this is very important to understand. So I will take a step back and go back to the National Cybersecurity Policy, which was already framed in 2013. And at that time I was working for e-governance projects, so mainly income tax department and all. So what we felt that there are a lot of, you can say that, regulations and important steps also mentioned how to deal with cybersecurity aspects. But recently, if you heard General Rajesh Pant, who is National Cybersecurity Coordinator, saying in his last speech that we in India are making a national task force and coming with the strategy now. So that is going to come very soon in 2023 itself, and it was published in an ET article also. So in that strategy, why we are adopting these all? So these all changes will be coming in. So the smart manufacturing, where IT, OT convergence is there, and related to controls related to IoT as well. So yes, those things are getting revised, particularly looked upon, and how the controls and the regulations are being adopted, in particularly when we are talking about that strategy document. So it is all about from policy to a strategy, where these all things are going to be adopted very soon.
Thank you so much, Baidyanath. And Amit Sharma ji ke paas jaunga main from InfoEdge. And the question is very simple, sir. That we have framework, we have guidelines, policies. What are the challenges for the organizations to adopt it? Why it is always a gap? And when we see AIMS attack or when we see IOCL attack or different other kind of attack, are they not following the framework or policies, or there was regular gaps available for the attackers to get exploited? So what is your viewpoint? Because you are heading an organization and might be facing those challenges day to day.
Good afternoon, everyone. So taking to your question, what I see that regulations are there for each industry, whichever industry it is. But with respect to our industry, e-commerce industry, there are certain regulations which are governed by SEBI and Ministry of IT, morely on the side of cybersecurity, as well as now is PDPP is also coming up. So following the regulations are challenging at certain level for each organization, because practically how the regulations gets implemented and drafted have the gap of difference of understanding and implementation. Because when the draft got selected and ready for the execution, it was deemed to be fit for organization. But when it's come to the practical scenario, it's been seen that they are where the challenges come from the user experience, where the challenges come from the internal team, that how will this get implemented, their costing, their maintenance and everything. There are certain gaps definitely in what we think of and what we want to execute. But at certain level, this get mature over a period of time as a practical experience. Everything takes time. Each organization which are running under the regulatory always try that it should get adhere, because it gives benefit to organization as well as to the users as well. But the journey is little longer. Now recently we seen that PDPP is coming up. Definitely there are challenges, there are technology changes which are required, there are adoption of many practices which should be taken, which has never been there earlier. GDPR is different, PDPP is different, because now PDP is also a second draft which is coming up now. Earlier which has not been accepted and got for rechange now. So these are something adaptability issues and acceptability with the industry and with the user's experience and business growth, which all to be taken together into the consideration. So it's definitely a journey. It will come over a period of time, where when the time comes, it is actually running as expected. But it takes its own time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Amit ji. I'll come back to Namrita ji, because I discussed about AI and you strongly endorse that, okay, we need AI regulation. Now there are two more challenges that I see, metaverse and quantum computing. We recently had the Indian National Quantum Strategy for India, where Government of India has, I think, pumped close to $1 billion investment for research. Do we need quantum policy as well, framework? Because it can also, the research can also go wrong, and it can be used in negative way.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah, so when we talk about quantum and when we talk about the metaverse, I think with each of these technologies, they are moving at such a fast pace that we need, as I said, those guardrails to make sure that we're using it appropriately. We're not going to be in a situation where we can say we don't use these technologies. So if we're going to use them, my sense is that regulation allows us that flexibility to be able to actually do it. Now the timing becomes very important. I think quantum right now is at a very nascent stage when you look at it from an enterprise lens. There are certain industries, of course, which have taken to it a lot more than others. But I would say, yes, this is a good time to start looking at regulation and to start getting the actors beyond the government, from the industry, etc., to have very active conversations around, if we were to formulate a regulation, what should it look like? To have the industry bodies, discuss that. So that would be my point of view on quantum. On the metaverse, I think, again, it's, with generative AI, it's taken a little bit of a backseat. It was the flavor of the year 2 years back. Is it going to come back in some sense? My view is definitely yes. Coming from an industrial background in terms of manufacturing, I think we're seeing a lot of application over there. So my view is again over there, whether it's on the consumer side, of course, the risk is a lot more. So you do need regulation for a simple reason that now again, once you start looking at the metaverse, you don't even know who you're talking to. So you're talking about deep fakes, you're talking about avatars. Do they have a human being behind them, or are they just, simulated and you don't know who it is? Yeah, exactly. It's an AI bot. You don't know who it is. When you start talking about geographies, which regulation will apply? They become nameless, they become faceless, and they become geography-less. So I think there, again, my personal view is you need the regulation here and now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, because we are running short of time. So I'll quickly take 30-second view from each one of you, and I'll ask same question. And this question is very similar to that, because there are multiple technologies. See, it's not only limited to AI or quantum or metaverse or IoT or gaming or loan apps regulations or data privacy regulations. So many regulations do we need. Are these regulations effective? My generic questions. Will they help us? Or the bad people will keep doing the bad things, or good people will keep doing the good things. It will not matter whether there is a regulation or not. And if it is helping, how effective it will be, especially for the industrial users? That is my question. 30 seconds each, one of you, please.
So regulation is made to make this effective always, right? Any regulator understands the ecosystem of that particular verticals. Accordingly, they frame that regulation. And they are very conscious that this effectiveness will take some time. It's a matter of time. It takes 2 years, 3 years. In RBI case, it took 10, 15 years, right? So now we are matured. In some other vertical, it is taking time. Just to adding 2 points of view, it's not that the obligation is always on end user. So regulators are taking very active kind of steps to support the, to protect the criminal or to protect from the cyber crime. There are, if you report within certain hours, and your money will be refunded. You have the toll-free number. You have lots of, RBI has taken lots of steps to protect the end user from cyber crime. So this is what I wanted to add.
Thank you, sir. Ravinder.
There is no doubt. I always say about this new technology, you love it or you hate it, but you need that. There is no another option. Yeah, regulations for them, definitely. And I think there are many instances, companies like we have AI ethical board and AI development, and this is the need of an hour. Before we, say yes or no, our clients are already on us. We need some, generative AI, co-pilot, your BARD and everything. So definitely it needs to be regulated, but we need new technologies. There is no, choice.
Will these regulations hamper the research work also?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because if you will see some scary statement, which even has given by, I don't want to quote, but ChatGPT, creator.
Correct.
So definitely, when they are creating something, I don't think so they're in regulation. But after that, everybody, needs some ethics behind that.
Thank you, Baidyanath.
Yeah, so there is no doubt about that. Particularly if you talk about any regulations, so that, as per my understanding, gives you a structured approach.
Okay.
To your effective controls, implementation and all. Without that, you can do, but again, it comes with even a complexity and understanding also. That is very important. The cybersecurity practitioners need to understand how the enforcement has to be done in their context. So understanding the business context, applying the right set of regulatory requirements, and then doing the thorough risk assessment to what are the actual important controls and frameworks that needs to be adopted and implemented.
Thank you.
So
thank you, Baidyanath. Amit Sharma.
See, technology is evolving. Today we have AI, quantum, some more will come up in coming future. When it comes to the research phase, as you ask for, research phase, there is no regulations required until unless their human intervention is coming, biological, something is coming,
Correct.
till then. But when it's only technology, when it's started using for the consumer or start consuming within the organization for any purpose to serve, then it will come to the regulation. It is important for each technology which is being used for any end user perspective should be regulated. whether it is banking applications, banking activities, technology activities. They should be regulated so that any end user impact can be reduced or controlled. This is the overall perspective of regulations. Regulation is only to help and prevent the impact to end users. It's been seems like that. This will control the revenue leakage, which generates for government as well. This is the secondary aspect. But overall, regulation is required when it comes to the consumers and business.
Thank you so much for all my panelists, and because they have clearly endorsed the frameworks and regulations required for these cutting-edge technologies and a regular upgradation of it. That is very positively coming out. They have also accepted that, yes, it helps industries to streamline things, to standardize things, and to make it more efficient, to avoid chaos. And it is basically for the end users. Quantum computing, when I referred because of a reason. Just few months back, China claimed that they have cracked RSA 204-bit encryption using quantum computers. And RSA 204-bit encryption is the backbone of entire banking industry. Whether it is credit card encryption, debit card encryption, VPN encryption, your IDEM servers encryptions, login password जिसमें आप encrypt करते हैं, everything is RSA 204-bit. Now that has been cracked by China. They claim, I'm not sure whether they have done it or not, but they have claimed, if it has been done, entire banking industry is on risk. And that's why we need some sort of...
Just to add on that,
yes,
because
sir,
you
please.
talked about RSA. So RSA, if it is not coupled with elliptic curve functions, then it is vulnerable by robot vulnerability. And there are multiple vulnerabilities, right? So right set of balance in cyber suites is very important, and that is also where hackers are targeting. So
So I think that's why we need regulations so that we can ensure that how are we going to use available standards to make it more secure. Or we need to move quantum safe cryptography or whatever. So, and that should come timely. It should not be late also. Otherwise, by the time we realize bank starts compromising and all. So thank you so much, my wonderful panelists, and they all are experienced, knowledgeable, and the rights people, those could comment on these issues. Thanks for your supportive views. I'll stop here. And this was the last session, so if you allow, we can take 1 or 2 questions, but depends if you have time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. With that, we come to end of panel discussion. We can all clap together. Come on. Okay, with that, anybody have any question? Wow, so I think we can take them one by one after the... I think we should do that. जब इतने सारे questions होते हैं. Okay, so with that, we would like to thank all the wonderful panelists who are present here. And to do the honor, I would like to request Ms. Tanya to please step up here on the stage and do the honor by felicitating all the wonderful panelists one by one. All right, let's just begin by thanking the moderator, Mr. Amit Dubey, ladies and gentlemen. Well, now we would like to thank Mr. Parvin Kumar from Paytm. Mr. Baidyanath Kumar from JK Lakshmi Cement. Come on, everybody, put your hands together. Mr. Ravinder Arora from Infogain. Sharma from InfoEdge. And last but not the least, Ms. Namrita Mahindro from Viscose Filament Yarn.